I've had such a wonderful ministry here with Janine at St John the Baptist Church in Spalding for these last 18 months. But our time has now come to an end and I have been called elsewhere. I know that I was somewhat of an unknown quantity offered to you by the Bishop of Lincoln, and you accepted sight unseen. You took a risk, and I hope you feel the risk was worth it. Now there's yet another opportunity for fresh beginnings, and I hope you embrace a new incumbent with as much love as you've shown Janine and me. Our God is a God of surprises, and we need to put our trust in him. And I thought this video would be an encouragement to you all as you start out on a new adventure. I'd like then to perform on film an extract from a 2-hour one-man show that I devised with the help of Adrian Plass called The Visit. I have performed it in theatres, in schools, prisons, care homes, cathedrals and churches, but never on YouTube until now. You will need to use your imagination, for I play the part in this show, the vicar of St Thomas the Doubter. He's a very efficient priest who runs a very tight ship. And one day, he receives an extraordinary phone call from his bishop, who has invited a very special guest to spend some time in the parish and is sure he'll be made very welcome. I hope it might spark thoughts about the church in this place, perhaps singing a new song. I do hope you enjoy. Thanksgiving, Bishop there, that's put it. Yep, that's fine. What else? Oh, I know. Hello, St Thomas the Doubter Vicarage. Oh, hello, Bishop. Yes, I'm very well, thank you. How are you? Good. What could I do you for? A visitor? To this parish? Yes, absolutely. We're always happy to welcome visitors. When are they likely to be here? Next Sunday? Yes, that's fine. And who is it that we're going to be welcoming? Sorry? What? No. Oh my God, no, that's fine. Well, thank you so much for thinking of us. Oh, we'll make him very welcome. Oh, thank you, Bishop. Yes, indeed. Thank you. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye. Bye. Jesus. Here, in my parish, next Sunday. Oh, my God. Our church is very okay. We do all the things that churches do about as well as it can be done. We talk about our founder with due reverence and proper gratitude, and we always look forward to the remote time in the future when he'll be with us. But the news he was coming now and in the present was very, very disturbing, not only for the church wardens, but also for the organising committee. Here goes. Welcome everyone. Yes, what a special time it is. Now, before we start the meeting, I think I'd like to start in prayer. Before I could open in prayer, Harry, one of my church wardens, was up on his feet. No. This simply won't do. It can't just turn up. I mean, we've already organised all the services for the month. I mean, how are we going to organise? Tell me that. Well, don't worry about organisation. I mean, we will do that, but can you imagine Jesus leading us in a Bible study group, for example? It'd be really exciting, yes? Well, she got glum too. She came forward. Well, for once, I agree with Harry. I think it's in very bad taste, Jesus coming back in the flesh. All right, all those years ago, they were expecting something momentous. But now, I don't think it's a very good idea at all. I'm with you, Sheila, I'm with you. I mean, well, tell me, how are we going to prepare? Tell me that. Right, I mean, how were we going to prepare? I mean, can you imagine Jesus coming here back for Evensong? I mean, it's rather like Shakespeare coming back to life, leaning over the shoulder of the director of the Royal Shakespeare Company while he's directing one of his plays. Well, but this is far worse. And then Mary, young lady who's got a wonderful spirit. She's very young, she's got a very wise head on young shoulders. She'll know exactly how to handle it. Mary, come and give us some of your wisdom. Yes, Reverend Rob, will he know everything? Well, yes, I suppose he will. Why? Well, if he does know everything, then I'd better tell you. You see, she started telling me a whole host of sins she's committed, which, I mean, shocked the two church wardens who overheard her. For me, well, I actually found her more interesting. It was almost bewildering as the initial news. But we had to organise, we had to do something, and Sheila, ever practical, steps forward again. Well, it sounds as though he's going to come, whether we like it or not. So, we first of all need to decide, who is Jesus going to be staying with? Yeah, you're right. Well, if you ask me, I think that he should stay with someone who's the same at church as they are at home. Yeah. Mary then perhaps looks around the congregation and says, well, I suppose you'd better stay in a hotel. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Sheila. Thank you, Harry. Now, we've really got to get organised. And I've made a list, so listen up. Listen up, committee. Now, where are we? Here we are. Yes, Margaret. Can you make sure there are no chipped cups in the kitchen and get the hospitality team on the go and really go all out? Yes, thank you. Kevin, now I know we haven't had them before, but I think we ought to have some congregational Bibles. So could you get onto the Bible Society and get a rushed order? I'm sure they'll do so in these very important circumstances. Thank you, Kevin. Bill, can you muster the team to make sure that the brasses are brilliant, that the carpets are cleaned and are pristine? Can you make sure there's no candle wax on that special red carpet that we use for weddings? Thank you. Sheila? Harry? Just oversee everything, will you? And we need to discover who's going to be staying with. Mrs. Johnson, he's staying with you, okay? And so can you make sure, I don't know what Jesus eats, but can you make sure your freezer's full? Well done, thank you. Now, for me, what do I need to do? I've got so much to do. We've got to have the best service sheets and pew sheets. There's such a lot, but I'm sure we'll all manage. Get going. We've only got a week and he'll be here. Take care.
Send
expecting. No, he was rather too real. And his entrance was a strange one as well. I mean, I expected a kind of triumphal entry, with trumpets and angels. But suddenly we realised that the man we were waiting for was already here. And I hadn't even recognised him. He was sitting in the back row. Well, thank goodness somebody did. So I called him out to join the service. Please. He came out and he stood here and he said, and you're not going to believe it, he said, "Has anyone got a sandwich?" A sandwich? At evensong? Well, Margaret, she went round to the kitchen, she got him a cup of tea and a sandwich. She came back, gave him to him with a cup and a plate and a sandwich, and he sat here on the chancel steps, drinking his tea, eating his sandwich, without the slightest bit of self-consciousness. Well, completely threw me. I mean, I had the order of service especially printed out, so I tried to give it to him. I just couldn't. I don't know what it was. He made me so frustrated. And then he put down his cup and his plate, and he stood up and he looked around the congregation, as if he was looking for a friend he knew or a face he recognised. And a lady in the fourth row put up her hand. Jesus went down to her, put his arms around her, and she started to weep. And then others in the congregation, they moved over across to her, and they knelt down with him, and they were all weeping and laughing and praying. And, well, it was most disconcerting in evensong, and everybody else was sitting facing front, not quite knowing what to do. And then he put his hand up, and it all stopped. And he looked across at a young man who was sitting bolt upright, hands clenched beside him, white as a sheet. And Jesus said, "Don't worry." That's all. Just don't worry. Well, those two words seemed to unlock him somehow, because the young man, he jumped out of his seat, he rushed to the front, he fell at his knees, and the whole group gathered again, and they started praying and laughing and weeping. Well, and then Jesus started to go out, and they started to follow him. I said, "Well, where are you going? We normally have the service in here." "Well, don't you want to come with us?" he said. Well, I did, but where are you going? Well, he got to the front door, and he looked up and down the high street. He said, "What's the pub like?" I said, "The pub? Well, it's a bit rough, really." Well, I knew that half of those people, they wouldn't go into that pub on principle. Well, how wrong could I be? They all trooped into the pub. Well, the rest of us who were left here in the church, well, they all started drifting off one by one, including the lady who we were supposed to be staying with. Well, about half an hour later, he came back out of the pub. He came back to the front door. Do you know, I could have sworn there was more people that came out of the pub that went in. And he said, "Rob, can we come in now?" Well, I suppose so. Well, so they came in and they sat down. Well, I say they sat down. They sat cross-legged on the floor and they draped over the radiators. And, I mean, it looked so uncomfortable. And then he started to preach. Well, I wanted to sit cross-legged on the floor and listen to him preach. And I think he wanted me to. But I didn't. No. I went home. So I came home. Now, I haven't cried, not really cried, since I was a little boy. But that evening, I sat at home and I cried my eyes out. What had I done? I was so stupid. And then suddenly, I realised what I had to do. The church was empty. The lights were out. They've all gone. Oh no. And then I saw him. He was sitting on the chancel steps. And he stood up when he saw me. You're still here? Yes, he said, I've been waiting for you. You took your time. You know, I'm staying in your house tonight. Okay? My house? You want to stay with me? Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, well, come on with it. I've got lots to show you. Come on. Well, we continue to have a wonderful visit from Jesus throughout the parish. It was both an adventure and sometimes a challenge, for he would turn our world upside down and then the right way up. But soon he told us that it was time for him to leave. And so he gathered us all together for a final farewell. And I wrote some notes about what he said, and I'd like to share it with you now. Today, he said, I must go. My visit is over. But before I leave, I wanted to talk to you for a little while about sin. Funny word, sin, isn't it? Old-fashioned somehow. But you know, during this visit, he said, some people have said to me, and I appreciate their honesty, it's all right for you. You never sinned. You had it easy. After all, you're the boss's son. Now, the people who say that, they've got a point in a way. I do love my father so much that it will be agony for me to hurt him. But I want you to realise something. You see, I had the capability, the opportunity, and the power to do more, to have more, to indulge myself more than anyone else has ever lived. I had spirit unlimited, I had power unlimited. And I tell you, I was bursting with it. And as I went off into the desert, it was like a teenager wobbling away on a huge motorbike that he hasn't learned how to control yet. Out there in the wilderness, I had to learn how to handle all this power that was surging through me. I faced the fact out there that I could have everything I wanted. Power, money, possessions, the lot. It was all there for the taking. And please don't believe that I wasn't tempted, because I was. I felt a desire for every human indulgence that you do, and I fought it out there in the desert, on my own. And please don't believe that the desert was easy, like in those pictures of me when I was dressed in pure white, dismissing sin with a regal wave of the hand. No, I roasted during the day, and I froze at night. I was hungry and thirsty and always lonely. And all the time, I knew at any moment I could have all that I wanted if I demanded it. But I fought it. And do you know how I managed to fight it? What made me strong through those endless days and nights? Love. Just that. Love. I loved my father more than anything in the world. I loved him with all my heart and my mind and my soul and my strength. And I loved you, even then, as much as I loved myself. And I still love you, he said, each one of you. And what is more, I know about each one of you. I know what you've done. I know what you want, what hurts you, what you're afraid of. I know what you need. Yeah, I know, because in a way that's impossible to explain, I saw. I almost became each of you during the 3 hours that I spent dying all those years ago on that hill. You happened in me. The time I spent on that cross was a nightmare of congealed darkness and despair. A nightmare filled with selfishness, hate, murder and filth of the most unbelievable kind, and as well as apathy and ignorance and all those trivial unkindnesses that never seemed to matter at the time. In those 3 hours, I knew what it was like to be an addict and a pusher, a torturer and a victim. How it felt to destroy and hurt and damage and gloat over the agony of others. I knew it. I saw it. I felt it. And in the middle of it all, I lost the one I was doing it for. He couldn't bear to look at me, and I was so alone. But that wasn't the end, he said. For I overcame death by dying to sin and being raised to new life. And I offer you the same possibility. There's a lot more that I'd like to say to you, he said, but I won't now. Just a couple of things. Please read the book. Get a version that suits you. And I promise you with all my heart that as you read it, I'll meet you there and we'll talk again. And the other thing is, the most important message I have for you. Love each other. Please. Look after each other. Forgive each other. And don't hurt me again. So God bless you all and look after you until I'm able to come back again. After that, he went very quickly. But as he was passing me, he paused, he smiled slightly, and he said, "Rob, you've changed." "Oh, yes." That was all I could say. And with that, he was gone, through the door into the darkness. The visit was over, but his spirit remains.